Hello and welcome to the very first episode of the P5 podcast. If you can't tell by the smile on Kels's face right now, we've just finished talking to world champion
Hmm.
Kenny Williams.
Oh,
And
I thought you were going to say Calzerini.
no, that's where we're a long way off that. I'm not ruling it out. It maybe one day,
It's
but
okay.
myself, editor in chief of the rotation, and Team Scotland's Kelsey Rooney.
I.
uh, we sat down with Ken for about an hour just chatting about COD and champs, and it was good when it kills. It was good.
it was good. Yeah, it was really in depth, and yeah, it was incredible for him to give us all the time he did.
Yeah, and just the honesty that he gave us as well about certain things was really really cool, wasn't it? At the end of the day,
Mm,
it was cool to have that insight.
definitely,
Yeah,
it's a good episode. Hopefully, everyone enjoys.
yeah. Hopefully, it is a banger for our very first episode. So hope you enjoy. Do let us know what you think. Subscribe to YouTube. It'll be on Spotify and iTunes as well eventually. Follow @_the rotation on Twitter. Get all the plugs in before. And here you are, guys. Here is the first episode of the P5 podcast. So, welcome to the very first episode of the P5 podcast, brought to you by the rotation. And we are very, very thankful to have Call of Duty world champion Kenny. Mate, how's it going?
Good. How are you? How are you?
Yeah, good man, good man. Obviously, we're very happy to have you here and just lead us in, basically, world champion, finally, almost, isn't it?
Yeah. It's been a long time coming. It's been years where I feel like I was due, so I'm glad to finally get it done.
Yeah, of course. And the run at champs was, frankly, a special one. And
Incredible. Yeah.
yeah, taking down Faze not once, but twice
Yeah.
in the world championship, it's something special.
True. I mean, they're a hard team to beat. You got to be on top of your game to even come close to beating them or even win the map. So it really felt good to beat them twice, especially at both events that we won. So that was kind of probably like the cherry on top for our whole year because our whole year we couldn't beat them at all. We couldn't even win a round of S&D. We're second versus them, and then last two events um, we had some pretty dominant wins versus them, so that was pretty good for our confidence.
Yeah,
Of
absolutely.
course.
And that grand final series against Faze, you raced out to a 4-0 lead as well, which is,
Yeah,
I'm not sure anybody expected it to be that dominant throughout the first part of that series.
we didn't even expect it. We planned our vetoes like carefully to the point where like if we went even with the first five maps or at least like went 3-2 or 2-3, like the last few maps would be our best maps, so we'd win it out in the end. But we started off 4-0, and we're like, well, we didn't think we'd actually be here, so like we honestly felt like it was done. Um, but then they started coming back, so it kind of got like a little sketchy.
I mean, at that point, like you said, yeah, you went up. What was it? Did you say you went up 4-0?
Yeah. We went 4-0, 4-0, then they won two, and then we were like, oh, yeah, let's lock it back in, and then
Would you say at
finally
that
won.
point? Would you say at that point you were getting sloppy, but a bit too comfortable, or?
You can hear it in the comms whenever we're at 4-0, especially like our Berlin control. Like you can hear the like excitement in our voices, like as we're like ready to scream that we won. So it kind of like it stopped. Like we stopped like I wouldn't say trying, but we kind of like wanted to like end it way too early. Whereas like FaZe was like on the back foot, they had nothing to lose, so they were playing some good COD, and we were kind of like playing lazy COD. So it was kind of like one of those things we just had to lock back in. Granted, we did go down 5-3 in the S&D, but it was one of our best S&Ds, so we weren't like too worried, but also was a little sketchy.
Yeah, so was there a little bit of a worry when FaZe did win those two maps to sort of come back into the series?
Yeah, especially because we thought like we knew the Bocage S&D we would lose, so we knew at least we're going 4-1. If we won now in the Bocage S&D, that would have been crazy because we
Yeah.
did not want to. We didn't. We wanted to win it, but at the same time, we had little hope of winning it because we didn't really prep much on that map. We literally went into it said, "Yo, we didn't prep on this map. Just do whatever the hell you want on the map. Like go wherever." And then Berlin Control came, and everybody knew we were pretty good at Berlin Control. It was kind of like our thing. And then we lost that map, and I'm like, we just lost our best. Like it's that's why I got sketchy because we lost our best map and we placed it there for a reason because if we did, like I said, go 3-2 or whatever, we would just win out in the last two. But um, Yeah, that's when it got sketchy because we lost that map because we were really good at respawns. We were good at S&D, but like at the same time, you never want to win out in the S&D. It's kind of, yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So, like, yeah, that map was kind of almost like your safety net in a sense. And when you
Yeah.
lost it, that was, yeah, that's understandable. Like you said, Faze are an incredible team.
Oh yeah.
And on top of that, like, obviously we're speaking as well, winning the major and then obviously champs as well. You broke the Vanguard curse, you know.
That was like one of our things like going into champs was like we weren't thinking about like thinking of it as a curse, but more or less like how we assumed other teams took it after they won a major. We kind of like took it a different route, and honestly, I got to tip my cap to my whole team. Um, we we grinded harder after we won the major. We all stayed non-complacent, and we had a night out of fun, but it was really short. But we grinded super hard going to champs. It was definitely something that we wanted to make happen, especially for me and Sam, because we got second before on 100T back at BO4 versus same team. So it was yeah, and I was actually sick like the first few days of champs. So like well like a few days before champs and then going into our Boston match, I was a little like under the weather, and I could feel it. Like literally got on the stage, and the stage was like 100 degrees. Like it was so hot on the stage. Like I actually like blacked out like a few times, like walking to the
Jeez.
stage, and I was so nervous going into the match because I was like, if I cost this match because I'm under the weather, I'd be so pissed. And I didn't play well in the match, but like that's what you have teammates for. So I
Yeah.
showed up in the game 5, and that was it.
Yeah. 3
um,
kills in the last round. That's impressive. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was kind of happy for that because I was like, if I can play under the weather and still win, we're looking really good. Because once I'm not sick, which was like our next match, um, we look good. So
Mm.
Yeah, and just to touch on that map 5 against Boston, 14-6 you finished that map. Like, what are the thought process going into the round 11 now?
um, well, they were a team that we felt like wasn't gonna go B in the last round. If they were gonna go B, they were gonna go late. So we kind of stacked the A side of the map and made sure we had the bomb site like pushed up. And I think Draza almost got like naded because we made the strat, and I was a lone man B, and it was usually like that where I played um the offsite, but like it was kind of one of those things where like just force them to make a play. If we have A, like there was actually like I want to say a stat that was going around that we were like the best team at retaking B on that map whenever they planted the bomb. So it was kind of one of those things we just took into account too going into the round 11, and we didn't really give up B, but we were just kind of like watching B like, as a cross. And so it got to the point where like it was getting down to the last like few seconds, and we literally couldn't hear each other because of the crowd. The crowd was yelling, "Let's go Boston! Let's go Thieves!" Like it was just back and forth, and all I heard was from Envoy that they're pushing. Like, well, Draws was like, "Yeah, I think they're gonna go mid right here because like I think they peeked there or something like that." And Envoy just screamed, "They're pushing mid." I peeked mid, got a free kill, and I was like, Envoy got a blood, and I was like, "This is it."
Mm.
And then it was kind of funny because we got the 3 kills, and then Draws was like, "Yo, go check B, Ken," and Vivid Planet B. And he's like, I'm like, yeah, 1v4, like lock it in real quick. Because if we get 1v4 right here, I'm gonna be so mad. Like, but
Round 11 champs. Yeah. That'd be a
yeah,
story.
it's
Definitely.
always really good because I think anybody that's won a major of one champs can tell you that there's always that one series at an event that like is a banger or is like like a pretty sweaty match, even if it's not versus the best team there.
Mm.
It's always one of those like matches at the event where you gotta like pull it out in the last few moments, and usually it's a pretty good moment when it's like the first match because then it feels like a free flow like throughout the whole tournament because our next match was Optic and we what 3-0'd them I think.
Yeah,
So it
you
was
did.
kind of like we hit form after that. It was like kind of weird because like yo you go game 5 versus Boston and you 3-0 Optic, like what happens?
That's hard
But
as well, though, isn't it? It's,
exactly. So it's
yeah.
like it's always that one match. So it wasn't like we took too much into account of the match. Like we weren't thinking in our head, oh, we went game 5 versus Boston because Boston was a good team going to champs. But at the same time, we felt like we were the best team. So we knew we could come back and dominate the event, which is what we did.
Because that's the mindset you need. If you have that mindset, you can do anything.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. And Was it a case of that sort of the circumstance of the Boston match giving you the confidence and the ability to then go and approach the Optic and the Faze matches that you had in the way that you did? Because the Optic game, that was a smoking.
Well, after the match, as soon as we won versus Boston, we went back and talked, and we literally all agreed. Like, we knew at the moment, like, yay, we won, but we all knew if we needed to win, we had to be better, and that's what everybody said after the match. Like, yo, we need to be better. Like, what we just brought to that match isn't gonna win us this event. Like I said before, I was under the weather, so it was kind of one of those things where at that night, I took probably every medicine I could, got the best sleep I could, and then woke up the next day, scrammed, fried. So it was one of those things where like our team was really like self-aware of like our issues like towards the later half of the year, and really get to like voicing it and also fixing it. Um, like like I said, we all knew we needed to be better. We couldn't play like we played versus Boston and win a tournament, especially if we're gonna play Faze twice, which is hindsight. But like we all came into the next day with a different mindset, and it showed. Like we were more dominant that day. Our comms were more on point that day. Our guns were more on point. That was probably the biggest thing versus Boston. Like we were losing a lot of gunfights that we shouldn't have. So I think we brought it versus Optic, and I think a lot of people like to say, "Oh, Thieves only try versus Optic." It's like we're not going into the series like let's try harder versus Optic. We just know Optic's a really good team. We make sure we're on point. We don't try harder. We just make sure we're more on point, and like we're not giving people free kills, which isn't what we did versus Boston. I just feel like we were losing really big key gunfights in the respawn. So I think throughout the tournament we kind of stopped losing those.
Yeah, definitely. And just going back to the transition from Major 4 to Champs, you said about how you approached it differently to how other teams had done after winning a major. Do you think that that extra grind that you guys put in was different to what other teams had done previously?
100%. I think the later half of the year when we brought in SHANEE, how we were just taking practice and overall taking VODs and everything was different than any other team. I think that spoke to our teamwork. I think we had the best teamwork by far. Like after Major 3, or I would say honestly, going to like Major 3, we probably had some of the best teamwork. We just couldn't get the kills, and I think that was like the biggest thing about getting me comfortable on the map with a sub. So I think, yeah, like I said, I think it just speaks to our teamwork because we had the best teamwork, and I, I feel like that's more reason to us playing the game differently, and our mentality going to practice and everything was different than any other team, to be honest, because we really didn't feel like, well, going into Major 4, we really didn't feel like we had any like teams that were giving us a battle except for FaZe and New York. We literally knew it going into the event. If we were gonna win this tournament, we were gonna have to beat those two teams. They feel like they're the hardest teams, and we lost in New York at the Pro-Am. We knew they were a really good team, and FaZe is obviously always gonna be a good team. So going into champs, it was kind of the same story, except we felt like it was FaZe in Seattle. So it's kind of, we just kept our eyes on the teams we knew were really good, and when we scrimmed versus them, we took it like it was a tournament match.
Yeah. As we say, you kind of have to. And also, you mentioned about getting comfortable on the sub again. Did you ever speak about a role change happening sooner, or was it just one that happened there and then?
No. I mean, we going into this year and even like making this team, we always like, well, whenever we made the team, we talked about it. And we were like, yo, if it ever in this, like our team feels perfect because if ever in this year we feel like we need to make a role change or a roster change, we should try the role change first, because obviously Drowser ran the sub on our LET team in Cold War. He's ran multiple guns and he's won before in challengers before that, and he's played well on both in the league. So we obviously knew, and there was never a talk about a roster change or anything with our team. It was just literally after Major 2 we lost, and I was like, yo, and initially it was, we made the swap because we felt like our comms were kind of just, they were more heavily AR sided, to where the point where me and Sam we were the ones talking the most. And it's not that Draza and Envoy don't comm, it's the fact that me and Sam are more like the overall game plan people, and we're leading the comms in the game. And if we're the slower players on AR, it feels like our subs are just kind of out of sync with us. So we thought it'd be best to have one person that talks the most on the sub and one person talks the most on the AR. So it's kind of like a more connected vibe where we're flowing together at the same time and doing things at the same time. So that was like our initial response to losing Major 2 was that our comms were bad. So then it became, yo, make sure we get, because Draws is always going to be good on any gun. That guy is disgusting. So it's kind of just getting me comfortable on the sub. And honestly, it came down to me being more selfish on the map because I'm a pretty selfless player in the game. And I think that hurts me a lot when it comes to like my KD or anything, which I never care about. People always roast like KD's playing so bad because KD. I could care less about a KD. All of my teams have always won getting outslayed. And I think that speaks to our system that me, Cap, have always had. Or just me, I guess, because I was on the 100 TBO4 team. But it's like my mindset going into like respawns, like kills, it's all about the imported kills. I can care less about any other kills except for the imported ones. And so whenever I became selfish and became this, I guess, superstar sub, I think people saw the swap in like our gameplay. So I mean, I think that was just pretty much it. Like we just saw the game differently than a lot of teams, and I think that's really good whenever you can and keep the momentum up.
Definitely. I mean, like when you mentioned, obviously, when you went back to the sub, all I kept thinking was it was World War II when you were
Yeah.
one of the best players in the game, and obviously, did it take you a while to get comfortable on the sub again, or did it come pretty naturally?
It took me a minute. It's more so like the routes you have to take on the map, and I think that was like the biggest thing was like taking these certain routes because with ARs you can shortcut a lot of things because obviously you can win any gunfight at any range.
Yep.
With the sub you got to take these routes, or these longer routes and earlier routes, just to get yourself in the best positions. But yeah, that was pretty much it for me. Like getting those routes down and everything. It wasn't about shooting my gun. It's never been about shooting my gun. I think anybody could tell you that. Like, I never play bad because I'm getting outgunned. I'm playing bad because I'm throwing away my life, giving free kills away, or just not locked in on the map where I'm in the right position. So I feel like that was like the biggest thing for me, especially on like certain maps. Like obviously when we played Gavatil, I was running 3rd AR, and that was kind of just normal. We were good on that. Our biggest thing was getting good at Berlin. We knew we were pretty good at Tuscan. Getting good at Berlin was like gonna be our key to our success, which we didn't play Berlin at all. I don't think at champs. So that kind of sucked. I think we played in our Boston match, but yeah, I think that was the biggest thing, and we didn't really care for bow cage. I think anybody can tell you we didn't play bow cage at all. But it wasn't because I think people have the gist of it like messed up. It wasn't because we sucked at it that we just chalked it up. It was because every other team that we knew was going to be contender at winning was really good at it. So it was like, why ever play every team that wants to play it on their best map?
100%.
Yeah.
When they can just play us on ours. Yeah, when they can just play us on ours. So
yeah,
that was kind of it.
Your game, yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So it was like if we ever had to break it out, we're pretty decent at it versus teams that are mediocre or suck at it. But we're not about to pull it out versus any team that wants to play it.
Yeah, definitely. I just want to go back and touch on something that you've said there about winning whilst your team's being outslayed. And do you think that's a good marker to show that you guys do play that well as a team in order to come away with wins when you aren't outslaying?
Yeah, I think it's the best. Like, I think it's the best formula to winning. If you can win while being outslayed, and the easiest part is getting more kills and outslaying a team. I think that's the easiest part because, once again, we're professional players. We can get a kill. So if we need to get more kills, if we go into practice, we need to get more kills today. I think that's easier than going to practice like, we don't understand the game. We need to figure out how to play the game. And I think nowadays COD is like everybody's so good that it's all team based or teamwork oriented. So it doesn't matter what you do on the map as long as you do together. So we kind of just got on the same page of doing things together, and it didn't matter what we did, but we did have like set in stone stuff that we knew we were going into the map, at least planning our game plan around. So I think yeah, I think it's a good set, like a good stone to like set yourself on as a team if you want to win. It's like if you can win ball being outplayed, I think that's a good first step to being dominant. Because then again, like I said, we're professional players. If we're told that we need to outslay a team more and get more kills and be more selfish on the map, that's the easiest part. So it's a system I've had since my 100 TBO4 team. I think my TK team, that was kind of just like give me the green light, go kill everybody. um, but yeah, I think it's like I would say yeah, only I mean I would say a few teams have that mindset. I definitely know like Austin, like Slasher. I mean, he's been on my team for a long, like he's part of that whole form. Like I know whenever I'm playing his team, they're playing the same way as us. So
Hmm.
it's like I said, it's a good formula to set your team around if you want to win. Mhm.
Yeah, definitely. And you've also mentioned that the team they came together sort of in the second half of the season. Did the long break between Major 2 and Major 3 really help you guys sort of reset? Obviously, you've got the Pro-Am in there as well, but
Yeah.
did that long break really give you guys time to sort of think about where you were going wrong?
No, I think we kind of just took that month or whatever you had was the month to just get me comfortable in the sub. I think that was like the perfect moment to make the swap if we were gonna make one because
Yeah, of course, yeah.
it's the longest time before our next match, and I could just
Mm.
have as many reps as possible on the sub. So I think that was kind of our mindset going into it. And then like I said, bringing in Shane, we did way more VOD session with him. Um, and also our mindset around the game was different. Like going into practice, how we went about fixing maps. It was kind of we stopped like our issue the whole year. We felt like with scrims or practice was like we're trying to micromanage every play, and it was kind of making everybody on the team more hesitate. Like we're hesitating a little bit too much because we're trying to think about what would like. Basically, it was kind of me because I'm a perfectionist. I like everything to be perfect. I like to be in control. But this year is kind of like a year I had to realize, step back. Everything got to be perfect. Everything got to be Ken's way. Um, bam, let's figure this out. And it was a good thing for me. It was a good wake up call for me. Good humbling experience for me for sure. Because I think it wasn't about not trusting my teammates. I've always trusted them. It's just like I've always viewed the game in the same way for every game. Like every game plays the same way. This is how it should be played. Blah 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 blah. But like I said before, the game switched to like whatever. It doesn't matter what you do on the map, just do it together. So I think
Definitely,
that
as long
was
as you
kind of
push
like
the game.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Shane kind of taught our whole team that, and him and Cap kind of were like yin and yang. They just fit perfectly. It was like bad cop, good cop type thing. So I think it was a good vibe for our team to bring in Shane.
Yeah, as we say, would you definitely say he was a good addition to the squad?
Oh yeah, he was the best addition, especially for our mental, because he was a more funnier coach.
Mhm.
Uh, Cap's a really fantastic coach. Cap's Cap has no filter. So when you get criticism from Cap, it's not filtered at all, and you got to
But
be
he
able to
takes it on
take
the
it.
chin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I get
definitely.
that.
What was it like bringing Shane in? Like, how much did the day to day really change? Because I feel like you guys have already been very vocal about how impactful he was coming into the team, but like, how was it actually going through the process of scrims with Shane as opposed to before?
Yeah. So Shane came in. I mean, he was like more motivational. Like he was like trying to get everybody to play the game more, watch more VODs. He was telling us like, yeah, we're losing these maps because we haven't watched more VODs. We haven't gone over these certain things. And he would literally after we scrimmed, um, we would all get our little hour and a half or two to do whatever we needed to do, like whatever we want to do. Like I would go to the gym, and after that, we're doing VOD sessions every night. We're watching VODs over every team. Who's the best at this map? Who's the best at this map? Who's the best at this map? Let's watch their VODs. We're watching every team, stealing stuff from them, and we did that for Major Four. Did that for champs. We grinded way more. We learned nade spots. We learned new S&D setups.
Yeah.
A lot of things. Like we were literally like going as hard as possible. Like granted, we didn't. I wouldn't say that anybody on our team played the game more, but we did the more outside aspect of like making sure that when we went into practice, we were having quality practice. So it's kind of like quality over quantity type thing for playing the game. But outside the game, looking in, like VODs and everything, we went the extra mile for sure. Um, lots of VOD sessions. I think that was praise to him because once again, he came in, he made it happen. So I think that's why we praise him a lot, is because he motivated everybody to do these things and he made it worth the while.
Of course. Would you say as well, like having that extra hour before, obviously you said you went to the gym, would you say that having that extra hour to do whatever you need to do and do what you want to do also helps? Because it wasn't just code. Yeah, you had that
Yeah,
little break.
because after like I learned this year from like people we have working with us that every single person, every single human has their dip. And I always joked about this, but it's like say you take caffeine or say you wake up and you're just energized on on your own. There's a certain time of the day where you hit a dip
Oh
and
yeah.
you can feel the energy change and yeah. So usually my dip is like 4 or 5, which is when we finish scrims. And I'm like, yeah, I need to go reset. Like I can't just go into a VOD session half asleep or just half assed and watching this and trying to actually focus. So I would go to the gym, reset my mind, get some weights in, work out, get my little hour and a half in, and then I'm way more energized that way. So I think it's definitely needed for everybody because you reset your mental. Granted, you can have a good scrim day, even then you're still tired. So I think that was definitely the biggest thing. And he also made us buy notebooks to write a lot of our S&D strats in and a lot of the other teams' S&D strats in. So anytime we were going to like a map, we read our notes. Who takes bomb? Who goes who when they do this? Who does this when they do this? And it was pretty. I mean, we became one of the best S&D teams at the end of the game. We were
It
really
paid
fucking
off.
good at
Yeah.
it. Yeah, we were really good at S&D. So I think the notebooks were definitely a thing for me. Well, I think we really did it for Major Four. Chance where you didn't really do the notebook thing, but it was like one of those things where like it was like our routine. Like once we did the notebook thing and we started to realize what we were actually going into these S&D VODs looking for, then for chance we didn't really have to write it down. We just already knew, like, hey, this is what we're looking for. So
Yeah, that's really interesting. Was it sort of like sort of an NFL kind of playbook, or was it?
yeah. Well, Shane's thing was that people remember things easier when they write them down.
Mhm.
So he made us, like I said, write all that down. Like who carries bomb. We would only go over defenses for a second. Like, hey, who does this on defense? Who does this for offense? And yeah, it was kind of like a playbook type thing. And for Major Four, we did the notebooks, and it became, like I said, routine where we knew what we were looking for going into SD VODs, and we kind of just ran with it.
So yeah, you definitely went the extra mile, and like I said, yeah, it paid off.
It did.
It's impressive, yeah.
That's what he was telling us the whole time. It'll pay off.
And it
And
did, yeah.
we all bleed him.
Did you guys buy into that belief immediately? Was it a straight away you just clicked and it was like, we believe what you're saying?
When you get Shane's energy, it's hard to believe him. 'Cause Shane's energy is one of a kind. He's one of a kind. So when he's bringing this certain type of hype and energy around him, it's hard to not to believe him. Because like, if it don't work, what if we can't we can't win with that energy? Like, it's looking slow. So he came in full confident, full vibes. Like this is kind of like a go big or go home type thing for him. So like I said, when you come with that energy, it's hard to not follow through with it. So it was pretty easy to believe him, to be honest.
Yeah. It really is great to see how you guys managed to stick together as a team and turn things around mid-season. Obviously, it didn't get off to the greatest starts in Vanguard. You guys did have problems. But what do you really think was the issues that were happening during those first two majors?
Well, I mean, initially, Major One, we were actually the best hardpoint team in the game. We were pretty good, and I think it goes. I think it's actually exaggerated how bad we were this year. I think our worst, like, look as a team was the Major Two qualifiers when we went 0-5. I think that was the worst, but even then, we went Game 5 in like 3 out of 5 of our games or something like that. We were playing teams close. We just weren't able to close out. And once again, it's always just been the S&Ds for us. Like if we're going Game 5 3 out of 5 times or however many times we went and losing every time, something wrong with S&D. So it was kind of one of those things where initially we were really good at hardpoint, then we started focusing on S&D a lot, and then we fell off on hardpoint, and then now we fell off on both because now we all think the game differently. Like I said, it all came down to like micromanaging. After we played Major One and we were really good at hardpoint, we went into S&Ds. And and then started micromanaging our hard points to the point where like we weren't even playing Gavitude the same. We fell off on our Gavitude like type thing. So um, it was kind of like one of those things. Like I said, like how we looked at practice, we didn't really need to micromanage anything in our hard points. We knew what we needed to do. We just needed to make sure everybody was on the same page for what we needed to do. Um, and that was just the biggest thing. And then, like I said, getting our S&Ds up. Our S&Ds was kind of just, it was all dependent on winning scenarios, which is like bad to say, but we were losing a lot of 4v3s, 3v2s. Like anytime we were in the driver's seat, we were losing. So it was kind of just like making sure nobody was doing their lone thing and making sure we all had the same game plan whenever we were up a man. So I think that like was the mindset that changed for us. And like I said before, all the other VODs and everything we did was it.
Yeah, of course. And I feel like it's really interesting that you said that it has been exaggerated, because I feel like the casual Call of Duty competitive fan, if you will, is the kind of person who will just look at the barefaced, the record, and the KDs and think, oh, that team's awful. And I feel like that at some point during this season, all four of you on the team have had people calling for you to be dropped.
Yeah.
Like, that's got to be challenging for your mental, right? Just seeing people talk about stuff like that.
100%. It definitely was. Like I said, that's why bringing Shane on was a big reset for our team, because he brought a different vibe, brought a different energy to our team, brought a different confidence to our team. So, and like I said, yeah, I felt like it was like exaggerated. I mean, people like hold us to a high standard, and I understand. But at the same time, things don't just fit perfectly because you have like the best players in the world on the same team. It's been for every team. I mean, Faze is the only team that looks like the best consistently because they all four were playing together. Well, they all four were playing together for so many years, and it's like that type of bond you have to build with a team to be good. It's like out of game things can lead to in game like teamwork, like, and it's like it took a while for us to like get the understanding of every single person's mindset for how they took criticism, how they give criticism, how they want to play the game, what's their thought process in these clutch situations, like things like that. Like all that goes a long way, and it just comes with reps. But then again, you gotta be all in the right. You gotta have the right formula first to get to these reps. We thought the right formula was me on the sub, eventually, and granted, we thought that was because of the comms, and I think that is a big thing for us. Is like our comms got way better towards the end of the year. They started off really well, then they kind of slacked off, but I think that was like one of the biggest things too. And I think once again, it's like people think, oh, they grinded the game more, they all became better, because I think at Major 4 and Champs, we all had like positive KDs, and I think it wasn't like, oh, we all grinded the game more. We just were all on the same page. Our teamwork was on point.
Yeah, which is needed.
Once again, exactly. Once again, we just need to get more kills. That's the easiest part. Now all our KDs go up because we're on the same page. Who would have thought? We knew, but it's like once again, like I said, I'm not playing for my KD. I'm playing for that victory at the end of the game. Like I want at the end of the map, I want to see victory on my screen. I don't care how good or bad I do. So
that makes complete sense, obviously. And of course, as well, you prefer to have a rough start of the season and finish it incredible like you did. You know, going back to back MVP.
Exactly. Love that.
Just slide that in there.
That's true. I think that was one thing. I think that kind of cemented me for never putting an AR in my hands ever again. It was back-to-back MVPs. I feel like I wouldn't say I threw away my Cold War because I think I was actually really good at Cold War. I think when I was on the Krig, I was actually pretty good. I don't know how good I would have been on the sub, and that's the thing is like you'll never know until you try it. So
it's hindsight as well, isn't it? You know?
Exactly. I did run a sub for like a few matches in Cold War, and people be roasting me for that. But I'm pretty sure I had a 1.0 like exactly, which is not bad for like me running a sub for like such a short time. But yeah, I think I mean, unless we obviously need to run 3 ARs, but I think that's also one of the biggest things too this year was like the pistol was like one of the best guns in the game, and I was really bad at pulling it out, and Jazza was so good with it that it also just made sense for him to run the AR because like you literally have a pocket rocket like, and so he was really good at using it. I wasn't, so I was like, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, definitely. Just changing avenues slightly. I just want to ask where the idea for the entrance came from for for champs.
So I was told before, like probably a week or two before that we were allowed to do an entrance, like a walkout. They were only allowing a few teams to do a walkout. And it was like us was one of them, and I was like, okay. And then I was bringing the bandana back with champs, regardless. Like it was like one of those things, like yeah, at champs I'm bringing the bandana back. To the whole team, on LAT was like, yeah, we're gonna make you a bandana for champs. I'm like, lit. And then the initial like thought for the walkout was like, yo, Josh, which is like our intern, he was gonna walk out of my spot but have a briefcase with the bandana in it, and I just come up and he gives me like, well, I come, he like gives me the briefcase, and I open it, it's a bandana. Um, and then I was like, yo, let's kind of like change it up. Let's bring out the lightsaber. So
I would love that.
I actually came up with like the walkout thing, and I was like, yo, we should. Well, initially it was supposed to be like, because I didn't know we were doing walkouts through the crowd. So initially it was supposed to be like, yo, all four of them go on the stage. Obviously, um, Josh is in the Jedi robe with the briefcase, and everybody's confused because like, where the hell is Kenny? And they do, where's Kenny? And then they're supposed to play like this Kylo Ren like voice line where he says like, you know why I'm here. I'll show you the dark side or something like that. And I was supposed to light my lightsaber from behind the crowd, actually. And then I was supposed to walk through the crowd by myself. Um, and then give Josh my lightsaber on stage. He gives me the briefcase. I open it. It's the bandana. That was supposed to be the walkout. And then last second, they're like, yo, we got to change it because obviously the Kylo Ren thing did get approved. The voice, I guess. But yeah, it was very thought of for sure, like beforehand. It wasn't last minute except for the last minute change, and it was one of the things I wanted to do because I wanted to make the bandana a big thing.
Yeah, definitely. And that moment, I feel like that's gonna go down in history as one of the cooler moments from champs. I think it was the Faze comms video that they put out. It was like
Yeah.
just in awe of what was going on. I feel like that was just the general sense of everybody, not just in the arena, but everybody watching was like, damn, this is actually really cool. Because I feel like there's a fine line between something like that being really cool and really cringe.
Yeah, that's true. That's what we wanted to not make it. Was like, yo, is it too cringy if you do this? Like, and like it was definitely like inspired by Crims because I think Crims was hilarious. I think it was one like even we were playing against him, so we were just crying, laughing on stage. So we're like, yo, Crim, shut the lights off. We can shut the lights off. But yeah, it was like one of those things. Like, where do we draw the line where it's like too like not cringe, but also really cool? But then again, we're like, it's a lightsaber, like, and like your Kylo Ken, like in the bandana. We're like, it kind of draws a line between not being cringe because like it's you. So, um, yeah, it was pretty fun. Honestly, I enjoyed it a lot. But at the same time, like before it happened, I was so locked into playing that match that I wanted to skip the intro. I just wanted to play. I was like telling everybody, I was like, bro, we can just skip the intro. I'll just play right now. Like I'm so locked into winning this. Like I could care less about an intro. But overall, I'm super glad I did it.
Yeah, definitely. Is it difficult when you're doing an intro like that to sort of have fun in that moment when you're already thinking about being locked in for the match?
I think beforehand, before we even came to the stage, I was excited to do it. I was so anxious to do it. But once I got to the stage and I hear the crowd and everything, and I'm already set up on the stage, like I'm locked. All I can think about is playing a COD. What's the first map? Like that's what I'm thinking about. And I know the first map's gathered too, so I'm trying to show up for that. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's not hard, but it's like at the same time, it's like one of those things like you do this and you lose, you look stupid.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of those things. I'm like, I don't want this to ever like, I don't want to get too excited to the point where like I'm playing too overzealous in the map.
But I mean, like, what was it that everyone said against you guys on Gav?
Yeah,
Just don't
that's
play
what
the
I'm saying.
Thieves.
Hey, don't play us on Gav. Back out.
That's the one.
But like FaZe was actually one of the teams that would beat us consistently on Gav. So, that was actually one of the arguments we had early in the year. Was like we like had a scrimmage like FaZe on Gav before one of our matches, and we like were half-assing it, and we got slammed, 100-point club. That we went into our match and played Gav and lost to the team. And it's like they're one of the teams we needed to like look at on Gav when going into these going into chance because we didn't play Gav at all at Major 4. But yeah, they were one of the teams that were pretty good at like sticking with us and beating us on that map. So we knew we had to lock in.
Yeah, definitely. I think we'll throw it to a break there. It's been a nice little chat, but when we get back, we'll have some questions from people on Twitter, which is always fun.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
We love it.
Right, so heading straight into some questions from Twitter. So we've got Kyle Gash who's asking, what would you be doing instead of COD if you weren't a COD pro?
Well, I was in school and I quit school to go to play COD. Well, I finished a half semester of school. But yeah, I was in school to be a. Well, I was kind of like in the middle of a lot of things, but like I was like my major was biochemistry, so I was kind of just in anything in that type of category I was kind of going for. But honestly, I was going to switch because chemistry was like I love chemistry. Chemistry is one of my favorite subjects, but it was so hard in college for me that I was like I'm giving up on this. But I'll definitely be in school for sure because I went to school actually on a free. I was on a scholarship free ride, so I quit on that to do what I do now. Definitely don't regret it, but
Of
it's
course.
definitely one of those things that like I could have definitely been doing.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like you may have, well, you almost certainly have already touched on this, but Dan Heelboy asks, what was the catalyst that inspired LAT to win the last 2 events of the season?
Jane bringing new energy to our team. Um, Definitely revived everybody's confidence and overall, like I said, our mindset for the game. Um, but yeah, I think that was pretty much it. That and getting me comfortable on the sub was a big key, and then, like I said, not micromanaging the game was like the biggest thing for us. But catalyst wise, it was definitely Shane.
It's incredible how one person can just change everything. Yeah.
Oh, 100%, 100%.
Yeah. At Cordec Matthew asks, who is the best player still yet to get a ring?
Best player still to get the ring. Who we got? Zuma is one up there. Who doesn't have a ring? Gunless, right? Gunless is up there.
Bans hasn't got a ring either.
And Vance, Enable.
There's actually
Jesus.
quite a lot. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
I'd
really tough
honestly
question.
say, I'd honestly probably say Gunless. I think out of all of those players, Gunless has the most MVPs.
Mhm.
And Gunless is just gross. Granted, I mean, I don't think he's been able to show it the past year or so or two, with the teams. But I think that guy's gross. So, Pierce for sure was who I picked just because, like I said, he has the most MVPs, and I think that speaks for a lot.
Yeah, and Pierce has been quite vocal on Twitter about being in a struggle to find a team for next season.
Yeah.
You think that he should find a spot easily, right?
Yeah, I think he deserves a spot. Maybe, I mean, it could be half and half. I don't know his situation, but it could be half of him not getting offers and him not want to play for certain teams. But then again, who knows? But I definitely think he should be in the league. I think flex-wise, he's one of the best flexes I think COD's seen for a minute. I think he pretty good.
Yeah. I agree, and I feel like this is a bit of a tangent, but I feel like with Pierce, he's a very natural flex, and I feel like a true flex is hard to come by in Pro COD because somebody who can genuinely run both guns to the same level of proficiency just is really rare.
100%. I mean, a lot of people probably will say like, "Oh, we don't play with him because his attitude," which I can understand because I think attitude is a big thing for a team's vibe and overall like chemistry. So who knows? But I think if I had to pick for that question, just regarding that question, I'm picking Pierce.
Yeah. And at Owen Sheffield asks, what are the best and worst games that you have played competitively?
One of the best games I played competitive was Halo 5. Honestly, Halo 5 was wow. I had so much fun on that game. Like, obviously, you have like MW2, MW3, like the pinnacle of like fun for COD, like pubs was.
Mhm.
But like, I didn't think anything would like revive my fun for a game like Halo 5 did when I played it for the year or two I was off. Um, I definitely say that game's up there. I'd say worst game, MW. I did not have fun that year. I don't know if it was just a year, like how our team is just so chalked or what it was, but I want to. I mean, I've forgotten a lot about that year, except for like obviously the bad stuff is kind of like funny now. We always
Mhm.
joke about the bad stuff now, but and in the moment, mentally,
Awful.
not
Just
it. Yeah, Vanguard being one of the best, but Vanguard at the top. I
totally
always say
agree.
this.
Yeah.
You can, listen, I won't say if I'm joking or not, but I think Vanguard is one of the best cards just because it's unique, and there will never be another card like Vanguard. So
When you move around.
if there'll never be another card like it, it has to be top tier, right? Because anything that's unique to me is top tier. Because I don't like everything to be so original and aim. So I
Yeah, and it
think I
only
like
helps
the
a
be
little bit that you won champs, right? Just a little
Yeah.
bit.
no, not biased at all that I want champs to the game. But yeah, I think COD wise, AW. MW2, MW3, obviously, and then like I said, Halo 5 are some of my top ones. I mean, World War II, I was really good at the game. But I did not enjoy the game because of how dull it was. I was even watching some of my clips back from World War II, and the game just it actually looks like I turned my like saturation down in the game where it's just no color.
Yeah.
Um, I think that was like one of the things like hard to get on. You just like it feels like you're playing in black and white.
Yeah, definitely. And then the last of the Twitter questions, at Chris Murray asks, did it feel different this past champs final than the other two that you've played in? He also said, glad you finally got the blame goat. Hashtag TK all day.
It definitely felt different because this one I felt like we were more prepared than the others, like way more prepared, and we felt like we were the best team because we won the last like the event before. Which granted, my TK team did, and we did feel like we were the best team going into it, but then pool play hit, we didn't play the best. So it was kind of like having that little small stretch of like bad gameplay kind of made things mixy. Because I think we lost to Lightning Pandas at that event, which was like Theory and them, and we dropped him early in the year. My bad, McGee, but we dropped him. We lost him, but it was kind of like it's one of those things. You drop a player, they always beat you. But it's like I think this one, and then BO4. I mean, we didn't win the event before, and E United was on the uprising,
Mhm.
so it was kind of one of those things where like I said we were just more prepared for this one, and that was the difference maker because it showed. We went up 4-0, where the other ones we were kind of like down, and I think that's like the difference for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And whilst we're here, before we go to the next break, I just want to touch on roster mania. It must be good for you guys this summer, not having to really worry about anything, seeing as you guys
Oh
really,
yeah,
yeah,
especially well, honestly, the one going into Vanguard wasn't that bad because we made it really quick.
yeah,
Mhm.
I knew Sam was already coming. I was already talking to Sam previous, and then I hit a deal DM him, and he was like, "I'm coming." I was like, "All right, bet this is kind of easy." But yeah, it's honestly because even when these players like agree, like they're coming, it's always like the financial thing and the contract talks, and it's like it kind of can get kind of mixy for a bit. But
There's so much
I think
behind the scenes. Yeah.
yeah, I think this one is just fantastic because all you get to do is just play other games and chill and not worry about anything, not be in any drama, not do all of this, not have to worry about our team being leaked, like,
Mhm.
and none of that. So, yeah, it feels good. Breath of fresh air,
yeah,
sure.
yeah, definitely. I think when Sam was talking to Merck and Maven about it, he was just like, it was the easiest process ever, really, because all of those worries aren't there. So,
Yeah.
in a standard off season, is there a lot of anxiety surrounding stuff like that?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Because, like I said, it's like you automatically, as soon as you lose champs, you automatically have this thought in your head, like, am I being dropped? If I'm not being dropped, who do I want to play with? And then you obviously have somebody like your coach or your GM hit you up like, yo, who's the player you want to play with? And then you always have these players in mind, and then sometimes things don't work out because maybe that player doesn't want to play with you. Or once again, like I said, your team can't pay that player enough to get him. Or like contract wise, they just don't fit with the team. Like it's just a lot of things. So it's a lot of worries, a lot of waiting like by the phone, like waiting for
Yeah.
that text or that call, like yo, everything's done type thing. But I think going into our LA, like I said, for our LAT thing, it was the biggest thing for us that made everything kind of sketchy was moving to LA. Um, that was kind of the biggest thing for us. But overall, yeah, you just get anxious to hear back from your GM or whoever hits you up about the players to hear back from the player.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like that's something that not a lot of people really have much understanding of is how roster moves happen.
Well, people think that it's like back in the day where you can just hit up a player like, "Yo, come join our team," and they just join.
Yeah.
It does not work like that. Like people are like, "Oh, these players sitting on the bench, they should join this team." It's like it's not that easy to just join a team. Like team needs to pay for you. Need to they gotta like do the business aspects of it. And like I said, a lot of players maybe not even want to join the team. So there's a lot to it for sure.
How much did franchising change that kind of stuff, like the way that forming a team works?
I mean, I think it forces teams to think really hard on what team they want and especially what subs they want. Because once again, if your team doesn't work, who are you bringing in?
Mhm.
And I think that was one of the things we had bad on our OGLA team was that both of our subs were AR players, and we needed sub players that year. We had Cheen and Goonjar, and they were both ARs, and we're sitting here like, yo, we need to sub them in. Well, who we sub them in for? But yeah, it's like it forces team to think a lot and like be actually like methodical on like what teams they're picking or what players they're picking and what kind of vibe they want or what roles they want on their team. So I think that is a good thing, but like I said, it can be bad because like it may not work out attitude wise, and now you need to pick up new players. But then now you got to go to the challengers. Now you know nothing about these challenger players. They might be really good, but they might come in with the worst attitude once again. You might fill the wrong spot. It's a lot to it, so it's definitely a lot of thinking because like nowadays you can. I mean, I think a lot of teams started to do this where they like trial players. I think Minnesota started or something like that. I think that's really good, but at the same time, like I said, you can't really trial players from a bench from another team. It's not how it works. So I don't know. It definitely made things a lot different. Some cons, some pros.
Yeah, not wrong. I suppose there's pros and cons to everything, but yeah, I don't want to say
Yeah.
there's more cons to franchising. I won't go into that, but
Yeah.
we've got our opinions, don't we? Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, certainly. But interesting that you've mentioned the challengers players there. Like, how much attention to obviously when you've got a pretty set roster, it's not really going to be at the forefront of your thought process. But how much attention to the pro guys sort of pay to the challengers and the kind of stuff that they do?
Wouldn't really speak to other teams, but our team watched a good bit of challenges this year. I mean, even when we're good, even when we're bad, we watch challengers. Granted, we're not watching them to pick them up. We're just watching to see who's good, who's next. Like even for gonna play against that player, like how good are they, type thing. But I can't really speak for how other teams like approach watching challengers or keeping up with challengers. Or I know a lot of people like keep in touch with like the coaches, and obviously some players are good friends with other players. Like it's kind of just like a he said she said type thing at that point. But yeah, I mean our team watches a lot. We watch a good bit of challengers. So
Is that just NA challengers, or do you sat next to Kelsey?
no, you're good. For us, it's definitely only NA challengers because honestly, I think it's one of those things where it's like hard to like. Well, for us, well for me at least, I'd say I'll only speak for me for my teammates because I don't know if they actually watch. But like for example, Draws is really good friends with like a lot of the challenger players in AWAS, so he lets me know when matches are happening. I don't even know when matches are happening half the time. I think that's like the worst thing for me. So won't speak on that because I think it's terrible. But
Wow, you're my
that's
teammate
like
at the beginning of the game as well.
yeah,
No support.
I'll just say that. I mean that's the thing. Like I want to keep in touch, but a lot of it, I only keep in touch with NA because, like I said, I know when NA is happening. I rarely know when EU is happening.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, we'll throw it to another break there, and when we get back, it's going to be quick fire questions from Kels.
Let's do it.
So we're going to do quick fire questions, as we spoke about before. I want you to think as little as possible. Okay.
Cool.
Okay. I'm gonna start with a basic one. One person who you could take in a fist fight in the entire community.
Everyone.
Okay. One person who's in the league that shouldn't be.
Jeez. In the league. shouldn't be. But this is hard.
I can come back to the end if you want me to.
Let's come back to the end. Yeah.
One person who isn't in the league that should be.
Mohawk.
Right. Your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Mint chocolate chip.
I'm proud.
That's a great answer.
Yeah. Thank the Lord. Thank you. Favorite COD map? And any COD.
Arcade and MW3.
Okay. Jetpacks or boots?
I'm a boots player. I like boots.
Okay. Describe Vanguard in one word.
Unique. Unique.
Stick with the safe option there. Will MW2 be good?
Yes.
Who's winning 2023 COD champs?
Los Angeles Thieves.
Okay, and back to the hard one.
Yeah.
One person who's in the league that shouldn't be.
I'm gonna go with the safe option again. Draza. I think he's a little too rogue for the league.
Okay, I respect that. Oh man.
Yeah. Out of everybody we've spoken to, though, you're the first person to give the correct answer on the ice cream question, because
Let's go.
like it's undisputed in our eyes that mint chocolate
it's
chip is
very
the best ice
undisputed.
cream flavor.
I don't think. Honestly, nah. There's like two that are my favorite, but mint chocolate chip is like easily my favorite. But I like strawberry cheesecake, which is like second. But mint chocolate chip, you can never go wrong. Like if I walk in a shop and I'm like, I gotta think about it. Like I'm getting mint chocolate chip. Like I'm trying to think about it because I'm thinking, is there any option on this board that compares with mint chocolate chip? And then you never come up with one. So it's like it got to be the best.
I'm not going to say there's obviously right or wrong answers, but mint chocolate chip was definitely the right answer.
Yeah, before every one of these podcasts that we've done, we've sat down, we've like, somebody will give us the correct answer eventually.
Yeah.
And for context, the two people we've already spoken to have both said vanilla.
Vanilla?
Exactly.
Yeah.
No. People usually say like cookies and cream. And I don't like cookies and cream like that. I think it's kind of overrated, but it's cool. It's not terrible. But I think the chocolate chips and mint chocolate chip are just crazy. Like it's so good. Oop, oop, oop.
Oh, like I said, there was there was some serious questions in there, and there were obviously some joke questions.
Yeah,
but
you definitely threw me off with that one because I had to think for that one for a second. I'm gonna go safe though. No drama for me.
I respect that. Was there someone in the back of your mind that you would have said though? Who
I think it depends on how the question like if it's for this year, like if they're still in the league, or if like last year, like for Vanguard year.
I won't dig
I
deep
probably could have answered that, but other than that, nah.
Okay.
Funny enough, that's how I expected that to go. I did say.
I was like, I had to go to safe option. What's a good option? And my good explanation is Drauz is a little too rogue, which is also a fact.
Yeah, he does put himself in the forefront of attention.
Yeah.
he makes it spicy for sure, which I like. I personally like it because I was like that when I first joined the league in TK. Yeah. I was kind of rogue, but yeah, I respect the kid.
Yeah.
Boop boop.
Does it sort of engage you more when you have a teammate like that? It's like,
oh yeah. It's like we have fun and like people roast us for like having fun. Like, well, first of all, people stop roasting us after we started winning, which is kind of funny. I find it funny how that works. If people roasting us like, yo, y'all laughing during your matches, and we start winning, it's like it doesn't matter if we're laughing, right? That was the whole point of it. We're having fun if we're winning or losing. That was like the whole point of it. But Josh can always make a joke at any moment. I think that's a really good thing. Rather it be him talking trash about the other player. Like we could be down 0-2, he'll talk trash about the other team. Like, and it's like funny because like you're not laughing. Like sometimes you can laugh because you agree, but sometimes you just laugh because like how can you ever say something like that in this moment?
I feel like you need a teammate like that,
Yeah, you do. He resets the vibes real quick, and it makes coming back in the series really possible. Granted, people may not think that, but it's definitely a fact. Like if somebody can make a joke in a moment like that, it makes things way more possible.
Yeah, of course. Does it really help for a winning team to sort of have somebody like that? Because even if you look back throughout Call of Duty history. Like most teams that have gone on to win big events, they've had sort of a member of their team that can sort of crack a joke and then talk smack to the other team as well.
MW, they Dallas won. Clay's that type of person.
Yeah,
Clay
exactly.
Clay is screaming. Like Clay just resets the vibe for the team. He's a different vibe than the whole every player on the team. I mean, granted, Faze. I mean, they I feel like they've grown into that with the aspect with like Cell. I think Cell's becoming more comfortable with like just being like him and funny. And you listen to their comms, he's comedy. So I think their team revolves around Cell, and I think it's the catalyst for the team, like how the vibes are going. So I think you definitely need a player on the team that can reset the vibes or make a joke in these moments where like a joke probably shouldn't be said, but it's funny.
Yeah, of course.
You can't stop yourself from laughing, so it's like you have to laugh.
Yeah, and how different is it to having that kind of joker in the team when the competition is on LAN and you're actually sat next to your teammate? Because I feel like it must be rather difficult to do stuff like that when you're playing online.
It's definitely better on LAN because like I think sometimes the nerves can pop out for certain players on LAN. I think having that joke of like, hey, that's like a good thing for us. Like we just joke so much that like we forget that we're actually playing on LAN. We're getting comfortable on stage. I think that's the biggest thing for a lot of players is getting comfortable on the stage because it's hard to be comfortable on the stage. One of those things where like one little bad play, one little mishap on the map happens where you get world stars or something like that, and now all your confidence that you brought to the stage is gone. But yeah, I mean, it's like I said, you can always have a team that's too serious, and then in these moments where like you're down 0-2 or down, you lost the first map. Say we play Gab 2 first map, we lose it. Like we could joke it off, but a lot of teams might be too serious, and like it's like those moments in between maps where you're just quiet, not saying a word, and that's like the worst. That's literally the worst because now you're on to the next map, and like you don't know how anybody's about to come for this next map.
Yeah, you don't know if the vibes are chalked as well.
Exactly.
You feel,
You know how anybody's playing, like if anybody think you costed that map, like what's going on? Like you're overthinking everything at this point. Like do they think I costed? Like nobody's speaking to me. Like what's going on? Like we're able to joke it off, like I said. So it's like it's always a good thing because you can tell everybody's still in the same mode. We're still wanting to win this series, and we're not down at all. Not down now at least.
Yeah, definitely, and completely to change the subject of the conversation entirely. You mentioned with Cell being the sort of forefront of the Faze team. How do you think they're going to be next season with Slasher coming in for Alec?
I think it'll be good. I think it'll be a good thing for them. I think that Faze simulation is gonna have to. I think like the original three are gonna have to like fit in well with Austin because I think Austin and Alec are two different players for sure. But I don't think that I'm not saying that in a bad way. But I also I don't know if they say that they dropped Alec because of like internal issues and not gameplay. I think with Austin, I mean, Austin can be no filter like Cap. Like he can be like when it comes to criticism, he has no filter. And like I said, it can be a good thing for certain players because certain players need it, but certain players also can be a bad thing because they can force them to lose confidence. So we'll see how they take it. And I said I think they'll be forced to be reckoned with because like once again, Austin knows how to play the game really well. And if he can get those players to be playing the game really well, which they normally do, but I think they like once again, I don't think they think the game the same as us. I think they were really good this year, but I don't think they're only they how they went about playing the game or their game plan was the same as us because they played the game a whole different way. But they're just really good. So we'll see if they change into this way or they keep the same way and still be good. We'll know. Who knows? So I think, like I said, it just depends on how they go about it or how Austin goes about it. To be honest, too. So they may mesh well. They may. I think they'll be a good team regardless. I think that's like no doubt about it. And nobody can argue that.
Yeah, but the most important thing is right that they're not going to be as good as you guys.
You guys are winning 2023 COD champs as well.
Exactly.
You said it.
Exactly.
You said it here first.
I did say it here first.
Clip it and bring it back next summer.
True.
But yeah, so that pretty much wraps us up for the quick fire question section. We'll come back just for one last little bit, just to say thank you and goodbye to Kenny.
Let's do it.
So just to start off this last section of the podcast, Ken, you've just told us that you had the chance to play Modern Warfare 2 early.
Yeah, we played like a day or two, I think, or a few days or two. I think before champ. I want to say before champs or after. I can't remember. I think it was after champs actually. I want to say.
And
It was
how
pretty
was
fun,
it?
honestly. Like I said, I think for pubs, it was really enjoyable. I enjoyed it a lot. I think there's a lot of things in the game that they definitely fixed that can be good, but at the same time, there's a lot of things that they added that also cannot be good. Before you can speak on how a game will be competitive wise. So I don't know. Pubs wise, it was enjoyable. I enjoyed it a lot. I can't wait to play it again. So
Yeah, for sure. And how much input do you guys have in the way the game plays?
rep that goes in and touches on things with the devs and everybody. I guess I'm not that. I refuse to be that anymore. For personal reasons. But yeah, Envoy does it for our team. So he has good input on it. He comes to our teams like, yo, what do y'all like? What do y'all don't like about the game? And we give it to him, and he goes and lets it fly.
So if anything's wrong, people don't like it, head over to
Yeah.
Envoy.
Exactly.
It's all Dylan's fault. If anything's wrong with the game,
Yep.
well, that's putting a target on his back a bit, isn't it? But yeah, so is there a general sense of excitement heading into the Modern Warfare 2 season from you guys?
Yeah. I mean, something new. It's always exciting to play something new.
Mhm.
The excitement might not last long. Who knows? Or it might last. Who knows? It just depends on how the game is and how the game plays out for competitive. So we'll see.
Yeah, how are you guys feeling about the 2-year cycle as well?
Yeah.
I honestly didn't even know. I've been so out the loop that I read something about that. I thought it was fake because I don't even know what's going on. So once again, excited if it's a thing because something new. So we'll see how that actually plays out because it could be terrible, but it also could be good for like a team like us. Well, I mean, I think this year it's kind of different because we kind of molded ourselves as a team, like
Yeah.
like out of like as players, and like as friends. So I think that's like a thing where it won't be such a battle to like learn the game as a squad this year. So we'll see. For teams that are like new, I think it'd be good for them because they have so much time to learn the game. So,
Definitely. Yeah.
but I just hope the meta's like changed a lot if it's a 2-year cycle. That's like the big thing. It's like
You don't want to
not
become
having a stale
competitive.
meta. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, certainly. Well, Kels, before we finish up, is there anything else you want to talk about?
I was going to say something, but this was ages ago. You mentioned you guys are professionals. You should be getting kills, right?
Yeah.
When you said that, the only thing I thought about, and no hate to him, he's an incredible player, and hopefully he knows I'm joking. But I just thought about when Sam drops a double donut.
Donut. That's the thing. That's where the we're professionals. You can just get a kill thing, kind of like goes out the window in S&D because S&D is so 50-50 that sometimes I mean because that map actually he had the most damage
It's
and get a kill.
it's a stat, isn't it? It's something. But hopefully he knows I'm kidding. I just had to bring it up as soon
Oh
as
yeah,
you
he
said it.
knows. He jokes about it more than anybody.
But yeah, apart from that, it's been a good chat.
Oh yeah, it's been fun. Honestly,
Yeah.
really, really fun.
Well, we appreciate your time. Obviously, you're
problem.
a busy guy, as most pros will be. Even if it is the off season, you've still got your streaming and everything like that. That's what you're doing mostly right now, isn't it? It's just
Yeah,
grind.
just straight streaming. Yeah, literally grinding. I haven't streamed this much in forever. I think my chat even tells me all the time, like they're mind blown. I'm streaming sometimes. So, it's been fun though. I've been enjoying it and got a game to enjoy. So that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the last thing that we have to say to you is thank you for your time once again, and it's been an absolute pleasure to be able to sit here and effectively just chat shit with you, honestly.
Yeah.
So we will let you go about the rest of your day now. So thank you very much for joining us, and we will
Thank you for having me.
talk to you again soon, mate.
Sure.
Hey guys, and here just wanting to add a little bit extra to the end of this podcast. It feels like a big moment for myself personally, the rotation, everything that is going on at the minute, to be able to give you guys this podcast with Ken and the podcast that we will have coming up throughout the first season of the P5 podcast. And I just want to take a moment just to say thank you to everybody who has given me love and support over the last 9 months now since starting the rotation, and I just want to express how overwhelmed I am with the amount of support and love that I do regularly receive because of my hard work, and I just want to put it out there that there will be no slowing down now, and this is just firmly the beginning of hopefully what will end up being something special. So I wanted just to check this on the end of this podcast. If you end up seeing it, you see it, and if you don't, you don't. And I just want to say thank you once again to everybody who has supported me, to everybody who has shown their love throughout and their faith even from the beginning, because there's so many people who were there at the start who are still there now every day supporting it, and I'm finding it quite hard not to get a bit choked up while I'm saying this. I literally I have not rehearsed anything here. I'm just completely spouting at the end of the day bullshit, really, just to camera, just to say thank you, and I just hope everybody enjoys the content that me and the team, because it is a bit of a team now. It's me, Kels, Dan. We work hard, and I just hope that everybody does enjoy the content that we continue to put out and that we will put out over the next season as well. So here's to one more fit, you guys. Much love.